Hi, I'm Emily, and I'm a level 1 chef.
Hi, I'm Lorenzo, and I'm a level 2 chef.
Hey guys, this is Yuji. I've been a professional chef for 8 years.
I eat a lot of curry. You name the curry, I like it. All the curries, they're all good.
I actually started eating a lot of curry because my brother-in-law is British. It was a complete different flavor profile. I've loved it ever since. So today I'm going to be making chicken curry and coconut milk and vegetables.
Today I'll be making Japanese curry with live lobsters. I'm gonna use all parts of lobster to make Japanese curry super tasty and unique. Every kid's favorite in Japan.
So my recipe is based on adobo chicken. We are going a little fancy and making it easier for your guests to eat, so we've deboned it and deskinned it to make it a little healthy. Doesn't really matter. When somebody says adobify it, it's vinegar, garlic, salt and pepper. I have extra ingredients, which is the sugar, the onion powder, and I have ginger powder. So I'm combining the two.
So for the main part of my curry, it's a vegetarian curry, so it's vegetables. I've got spinach, potatoes, green beans, and tomato, and coconut milk. I think it's really tasty, and it works as a meal.
So I have soft shell lobsters. Soft shell lobsters are great for curry because the shells are much softer and you can utilize the whole body much easier than hard shells. Everything gets used and nothing's wasted and you get really nice curry.
Let's start with our potatoes. Potatoes in the bowl. And the next thing we're gonna do is just cut these green beans down to size. You're ugly and no one likes you. I'm sorry, that's dumb.
So before I start preparing these lobsters, I'm gonna start making kombu dashi. Kombu dashi is the broth made from cold water with just a kombu. Kombu is dry kelp, so it adds a really nice umami. It's called glutamic acid into the water. It's gonna take about 15 minutes or so for the kombu dashi to be ready. Meanwhile, I'm gonna go ahead and get ready the lobsters.
Let's go ahead and just pour everything together. This is just water. Now, mind you, when you're doing a marination, you just need an extra liquid. You can totally use beer. I prefer beer. So of course I have my soy sauce, and then I have vinegar, onion powder. You can totally use fresh onion, but guess what? I'm done chopping for now.
Just give it a little chop. Trim the stems off my spinach. Doesn't have to be perfect, just has to be chopped.
Now I have ginger. You've got to have sugar. Why? Sugar will help the marinade kind of adhere to the protein. So now this is all together. We're just gonna mix this up. I will add salt and pepper. Now let's get 5 garlic. It's a rough chop.
I'm gonna go ahead and get the lobsters ready. If we are to boil lobsters alive, it actually deteriorates the flavor because it creates more stress in the protein and then it leaks out the flavor. It's important to kill any animal without any suffering. The way to do it is you aim for the nerve. So I put my knife straight in there and then the lobster dies instantly. I prep these lobsters and they are ready to be boiled. Kombu is ready to be out of the water. Now my kombu dashi is ready and then I'm gonna boil these lobsters.
Let's salt and pepper this chicken. I'm going to be saving a few tablespoons of my marination because I'm gonna use that in the cooking process of my vegetables. I'm going to take 1 ringy dingy, 2 ringy, I don't know why I said that, 3 ringy, well no, 1 more, what the hell. Let's go for a little swim. Even if you marinate anything for a good 20 minutes, that is absolutely helpful. So I'm gonna throw it in the refrigerator and I'm gonna let it marinate for 30 minutes to an hour.
So I'm gonna take the lobsters out of the water and I'm gonna shock it in ice. So I'm gonna be using this water for broth too. That's why I wanna make sure that every juice out of the lobster goes in here, not here. So now I'm going to separate the body from the head and then the tail. And I'm gonna chuck the meat out of it as much as possible. So I'm gonna be using all parts of the lobster. No parts gets wasted. The lobster shell becomes oil, lobster body becomes the broth, and then the lobster meat becomes part of the lutu. So you see how little meat you get out of those giant lobsters? That's why you want to make sure that you use everything.
My chicken has been marinating for a good hour and I'm ready to go ahead and start cooking here, guys. Let's just test it if we get a sizzle. Ooh, yes, I love it. Okay. That's what we want.
All right, that's it. All my vegetables are prepped, and it is time to make my curry. The first thing I have to do is chop my onions and my garlic. I'm just gonna add some oil here, start getting my oil hot. Whee!
Now it's time for my sauce. So now I have my kombu lobster dashi here. I have these shells. And the first thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna squeeze all the juice into here. This is the most delicious part. It's more like lobster juice rather than lobster broth.
So I'm using the water that I have to basically kind of deglaze the bottom of this pan. See how it's bubbling? I'm gonna actually turn down the heat now because I don't want to boil, I want to simmer. I'm gonna pour in this delicious coconut milk. I just love the fact that you can find coconut milk anywhere. The pickling juice of pepperoncini. The actual cut up pepperoncinis. The very last ingredient, which is my curry powder, which will bring that delicious flavor of curry into this coconut milk, added to the delicious flavors of adobo. That looks beautiful. So while this is gonna simmer for a good 20 or so, let's work on my vegetable saute.
So I'm gonna add the celery, onion, bay leaf, and then lobster body into the broth. This is a yellow onion.
So I'm just gonna pop this onion into my pan. Garlic into the pot. Turmeric, cayenne pepper, mustard seed, and cumin. I'm just gonna give this a mix. All right, so my garlic and onions and my spices have been sort of sizzling away here, and I'm ready for my next step. So I'm going to add my tomatoes, potato chunks, a generous pinch of salt. Ta-da! All right, so I'm gonna pop a lid on this.
This is what we call it miso in Japanese, actually. It looks like a miso paste. So lobster miso is very delicious. I wanna open it up so it actually blends into the broth much easier. Tastes very sweet. Once all the ingredients are soft enough, I'm gonna use a hand mixer and blend everything and then strain.
So my potatoes have been boiling away, and I'm gonna check on them. Very cookable potatoes. So I'm going to add in my green beans and just give this a little stir. Now, you may notice that I match this very well. It is so intentional. That is what I thought when I got up this morning and got dressed. I want to look like my curry. Anyway.
So my chicken is simmering away in the beautiful coconut curry sauce, and we're gonna party on through and add some friends here. We're gonna saute some vegetables for it. This is a peeler that I have adopted and I will be using all the time now. Sitao, or green beans. I will do maybe 3-inch lengths. Actually ends up looking like the size of a typical green bean. Since I'm sauteing it, I will go a little smaller here. It's just what we always do first is onions and garlic. I just like the onions to kind of have started cooking already. I'm always worried about burning my garlic. This is the reserve marinated. I believe I have 4 tablespoons. 3 is fine, but you know what? 4 is better.
The best way to utilize these shells are turning them into oil. You're gonna cut this up in smaller pieces, and then you're gonna add oil, and you're gonna fry them. So I'm just cutting all these shells in smaller pieces as much as possible, so you actually fry it quicker. This is just a normal vegetable oil. That's the color that you're looking for. Nice and orange.
Okay guys, this vegetable medley here has been sauteed. It looks fantastic. The colors are great. It still has a nice bite. Let's add it to the sauce. And we're just gonna put in all these vegetables right in. Just go ahead, sauce and all.
My lobster oil has been cooking for about half hour. Now it's ready to be strained. So red. The strained broth is going to be used for the sauce. So this has been reducing for about an hour or so. So I'm going to blend everything almost to be like smoothie. Blending is done. Now ready to strain. If it smells good, it tastes always good. Very good. And I'm gonna use the lobster oil to saute the vegetables. After they're cooked, I'm gonna pour broth and the roux to finish it. Yellow onion. So I'm gonna have my lobster oil. Celery.
Okay, ooh, look how pretty that is. I haven't even mixed it yet. Now we mix.
Vegetables that I sauteed and also the lobster krill meat in almost like one sauce. So now I'm gonna add my lobster broth. So I'm gonna add this roux into this. It's got a lot of nice curry powders and the vegetable eggs and melt it down. Now my curry is finished.
So the last thing I have to do here is I'm going to toss in my spinach, all of this coconut milk, And I'll give it just a smidge more salt. All right, this is looking good. I think it's time to plate. This will be delicious. Just a little fun fact for you. Grab some of my cilantro and sprinkle it on top here. So what I have here is a store-bought piece of naan bread because, and this is true, I don't have a tandoori oven at my house. Pop my naan in there and it's done.
I love to have a nice bed of rice, because why not? Okay, now we can't forget these wonderful vegetables.
Now I have a curry right here ready, and then also the rice, and then the watermelon radish, and then the egg, squash, greens, and a lobster tail. Everything that you want to eat, let's put in one big giant curry bowl.
Here's my vegetarian curry.
And here's my chicken coconut curry with a bunch of veggies.
This is my lobster curry.
I'm ready to dig in. I'm just staring at it because I can smell it. It smells so good.
Yeah, that turned out really good.
It's oddly satisfying to me. It's kind of weird. I have to get another bite of the sauce. Right? What's that? Wow! Packed with flavor.
This is a great, like, weeknight kind of curry because you can do it fast. It's easy. There's a lot of like set it and forget it where you like chop it up, put stuff in, cover it, and you've got 10 minutes to open a beer or do the dishes or whatever.
I'm now dipping the lobster tail in a lobster broth. Amazing. Yeah, my wife will be super jealous.
So nice, so subtle. Boom, boom, boom. Flavor this. This is yummy. Everything. Just layers of flavor.
The way that I showed today, chopping the lobster shells and frying, squeezing the lobster juice out of the body, it's a lot of work, but it's totally worth it.
Level 4 should just be Tim Curry.
Curry is a wonderful, warm, stewed dish that's as versatile as it is delicious. Let's see how each of our 3 chefs made theirs. Emily made a vegetable curry with potatoes as her main and most filling component. She used Yukon Gold potatoes. These are a type of waxy potato, a term which describes the potato's texture after cooking.
You know, if you guys keep hiring me, eventually I'm going to get good at cooking.
They have a dense texture with starch cells that adhere to each other and hold their shape better than the more mealy varieties like russets or blue potatoes. Lorenzo made a chicken curry with chicken thighs, a type of dark meat. They're darker in color because they have more myoglobin. They're also higher in fat and lend themselves well to stewing.
I love chicken thighs. I feel that they're juicier. Ooh, smells good.
Dark poultry meat has longer fibers that are more firmly bound together with connective tissue as compared to white meat. So slow, moist cooking softens and tenderizes the dark meat nicely. Lorenzo marinated his chicken thighs in aromatics with some vinegar or acetic acid. This tenderized the meat by breaking down the proteins more easily. Be careful when adding acids directly to meat, as acid promotes proteolysis, or the breakdown of muscle tissue. Too much acid applied for too long will make your meat soft and mushy. Lorenzo only briefly marinated his chicken, so this wasn't a problem.
That's no bueno, you guys.
Before adding raw chicken to the marinade, Lorenzo reserved some of it to use later. This was smart because once raw chicken is in the marinade, you shouldn't use it for anything else. It may be contaminated with pathogenic bacteria from the chicken.
Let's do it, yeah?
Yuji made a Japanese-style lobster curry. He used a soft shell lobster, which is a lobster that recently overgrown and shed its old shell. Soft shell lobsters have a meat that's brinier and more tender than hard shell lobsters. This is because they have less meat and more seawater inside the shell, which in a way marinates the meat. Yuji made a kombu dashi, which is a basic water-based broth that's perfectly flavorful and balanced. Kombu is a brown algae that's naturally very high in monosodium glutamate, or MSG.
This is kombu.
The study of kombu actually gave us the term umami, which is the flavor Yuji was hoping to achieve in his dish. It's savory and made a flavorful liquid for boiling his lobsters. Emily made a simple but delicious curry sauce for her potatoes and vegetables. She layered flavors by adding her aromatics and spices directly to the oil. Flavor compounds like cuminaldehyde and pyrazines are expressed in oil. Cuminaldehyde is a major flavoring compound in cumin and yields a warm, smoky, spicy flavor. Pyrazines are associated with more roasted, toasty flavors.
It's nice. It's good. I'm a fan.
Spices like cumin, mustard seeds, and turmeric also have some thickening properties because of the polysaccharides or starches that they contain. As starches are heated, hydrogen bonds within them start to vibrate, break apart, and interact with water, which causes swelling. Emily also used coconut milk, a rich, flavorful liquid that formed the base of her curry.
I really like coconut milk, so I just want to make sure this all gets in there.
Coconut gets its distinctive sweet flavors from compounds called lactones. You'll also find lactones in other fruits like peaches, strawberries, and pineapple. Her canned diced tomatoes added some liquid and viscosity from the starches in the tomatoes. This product usually has added calcium salts in order to support the cross-links between the pectin molecules in the tomatoes. This helps the tomatoes to retain their firmness during the canning process. Lorenzo's sauce was a combination of his seasoned chicken meat in coconut milk and his vegetable sauté.
We've got my Town.
As Lorenzo's meats and vegetables cooked, the salts and sugars in his added ingredients drew out moisture, adding to the stewiness of his curry. Yuji used every ingredient in his recipe for maximum flavor and no waste.
What you see here is pretty much whole lobster. This is the only lobster you see at the restaurant, but this is what else you can do with the rest of the body.
He made an infused oil from the shell, body, and knuckle of the lobster. Lobster shell contains astaxanthin, a carotenoid pigment that when heated breaks apart from the protein it's bound to when the lobster is alive. Astaxanthin is lipid soluble, so it's expressed in the oil, which is why the oil got so red.
Don't add any food coloring. For real, it's super orange.
Yuji made a lobster stock by adding the lobster head and the aromatics to his kombu dashi, which he reduced and blended to create a thick and flavorful stock. By letting his stock simmer for an hour, he reduced its water content through evaporation and concentrated its flavor compounds.
This is lobster smoothie.
Notice that Yuji used fewer ingredients than our levels 1 and 2 chefs. Sometimes the most complex flavors come from the balance of simplicity. Next time you're in the mood for curry, we hope you'll take some of these tips from our 3 wonderful chefs.